she has always instilled in us kids that you get what you work for. And so that's always been my mentality. I try to instill that in my kids.
I just had the most fun conversation with Tanya Odenbreit. She talked to me about tradition that she's passed on to her kids, which is making campfire pizza. So it'll be interesting to hear more about how you make that. It sounds delicious. She also talked about her transition from working in the medical field to working in manufacturing and how much she has enjoyed that. I think you're going to really enjoy hearing from Tanya Odenbreit. Today, my guest is Tanya Odenbreit. Welcome, Tanya. I'm excited to have you on the show.
It's exciting to be here.
Yeah. So tell us where you came from today.
I came from Bloomer Plant.
Yep. In Wisconsin here.
In Wisconsin.
Where do you live?
I live in Chautauqua, Wisconsin.
Ah, okay. That's how you say that name. I see that name on the signs when I'm driving up to Bloomer. I always wondered, Chautauqua.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Looks like Chi-Tech. So what do you do for us at C&G?
I am currently an extrusion tech. I started out in packaging and worked my way up through the material handling, the operating.
Mm-hmm.
I took my capstone test, and now I'm an extrusion tech.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
When you first came in and you looked at that extrusion job, were you like, ooh, I don't know if I'll ever do that? Or were you like, that's my goal. I want to be an extrusion tech?
My goal was always to keep working up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, my goal before I even started, I saw the potential for growth within that company, and that is what I wanted. Whether I keep going or not,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm happy where I'm at, but
Yeah.
that's what I wanted.
Awesome. What did you do before you came to
I
C&G?
I worked for Marshfield Clinic.
Ah,
I
okay.
was an appointment coordinator before I left there. Um, Prior to that, I was release of information, and there's a lot of changes going through healthcare and things. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not where I didn't end up being where I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
So
So this is quite a big career change for you then.
yes,
Yeah. So what was it about manufacturing that attracted you?
not sitting behind a desk.
Okay.
I like the physical aspect of working.
Mm-hmm.
I have a longer history in manufacturing than I do in anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to work at Genio in Barron, Wisconsin. Um, and I absolutely enjoyed my job there.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Good. So tell me about your life outside of work. Tell me about your family or
well, I've gone through a lot of changes in that aspect
okay.
recently. Um, I have two kids. One is grown and on his own and trying to find his own way. And I have a daughter who just turned 14. I'm newly divorced, living on my own. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of big changes in my life.
Yeah, I'll say. What are your kids' names? And what is your older son or your son doing?
Justin, he's doing a couple different things. He is in the National Guard. He started when he was 17, so he absolutely loves that. He drives heavy equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he also works part-time at Walmart so that he can go to, well, it's Northwoods College now. He's
Mm-hmm.
doing utility construction through there and getting his CDL and hopefully moving into a career option after
Mm-hmm.
he's finished there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and your daughter, she's in what grade?
She is in 8th grade this year.
Oh, tough age for girls.
A very tough age.
Yeah. What are the things that you and your daughter like to do together?
Well, when she actually likes to do things, she likes to sit in her room and play on her phone a lot.
Ah, yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
I do try to get her out. We love in the summertime to go camping
Mm.
and kayaking and all the outdoor things,
Mm-hmm.
go hiking through the woods. And even if she is a little stubborn about that, I'm like, yeah, we're going to go do this.
Yeah.
So she usually has so much fun once we do it. But
Yeah. It's great like making memories like that, things that she'll remember when she gets older. But it's kind of like, for me, sometimes I do love exercising, but sometimes I'm like, I just don't feel like going to do it, but then when you go to do it, you're so happy that you did. It's kind of like that,
Right.
probably for her. So, Tanya, when you think about yourself growing up, it sounds like it was a happy childhood. Was there any family tradition or any special memory you have of something you used to do with your mom that you've now passed on with your kids?
Absolutely, there is. We loved to go camping. That was our thing to do
Mhm.
since I can't even remember how long ago, and we perfected the art of making campfire pizza.
Ooh,
So
tell me more. Tell me more.
every single camping trip, I get all the stuff to make campfire pizza. I have a cast iron Dutch oven. We put it over the coals in the campfire. We bake pizza in this thing, and it's amazing. It's amazing every time because it's so different than just baking a pizza in the oven.
So wait a minute. So tell me more. Like how do you get the like you take pizza dough that you make homemade or
Well, we try to keep it simple because 'cause we're camping, so
okay.
we buy packages of, like, the powdered mix, and we
Okay.
just so that we can quickly mix that together when we're there. We have, metal camping plates that fit just in the top of the Dutch oven. So, you put the Dutch oven, which is just a big pot with a lid
Yep.
on it, and you
It's
put
like
that
a
over.
cast iron one.
Yes,
Okay.
and you can put that right over the coals of the fire, and then that you would grease that plate because it's metal,
Yeah.
um, make your pizza on it, and then put it right in the top of it sits in the top of the Dutch oven, and it'll bake once you put the lid on.
Wow, this sounds delicious. Might be a reason for me to try camping. So you did that when you were a little girl, and now you do that with your kids?
Absolutely do. We
Ah,
we can't go camping and not have campfire
okay.
pizza.
Campfire pizza. There you go. And do you make s'mores too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are good as well. Although one of them is probably enough. It's like they're so sweet.
Right, and now my daughter is getting us into making pudgy pies too,
No, what is
which
that?
is it's it's just bread that you put pie filling in between, and you put butter on the outsides, and you make it's a cast iron, like, sandwich maker, basically, and you toast it over the fire, and then you
Mm.
can sprinkle powdered sugar on it if you want after it comes
Mhm.
out, but
So is this a dessert?
yes.
Yeah, okay. I was just thinking that's a sweet sandwich, but okay.
Right.
Kinda like a strudel in a way.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
awesome. Any other special memories from childhood?
Our holidays, we always get together for every big holiday.
Uh-huh.
And it's a huge family event, and our family is loud and obnoxious. If you don't know us good, it's a lot to handle, but we were always together, and we
Yeah,
still try to do that, so
that's awesome. I love that. Is there a certain holiday that, really kinda stands out as the special holiday?
my favorite holiday has always been Christmas.
Ah, yes.
I absolutely enjoy making things for people, and for the last several years now, I like to make my own soap and dish towels and you name it, and I give it away to my family for Christmas, and it's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, very cool. Now you need to start making purses for everyone. That would be a big challenge for you, right? That's wonderful, though. I think sometimes those homemade gifts can be the most appreciated gifts of all.
Absolutely.
So, how do you deal with stress? What do you do to de-stress?
That's a great question. I If I have a long, hard day at work, I usually go sit in my bathtub and read.
Nice. Okay.
Um, I do a lot of, kind of unwind activities between reading. I crochet, leather crafting. I do a lot of crafting,
Mhm.
baking,
Okay. What is leather crafting? What do you mean by that?
where you take a raw piece of leather and you hand tool a design into it and
Mm,
make it into something else. So I've made a purse, I've made wallets, checkbook covers,
interesting. Tell me about your favorite thing that you've made.
my purse. I made a purse from scratch. I made the pattern to actually have the pieces cut out. I made the pattern that I tooled onto the leather. I put it all together. I hand laced it.
Mhm.
It was a lot of work. We got into that because my kids used to be in 4 H. And so instead of going to these workshops and watching them work, we all did it together.
I was gonna
So,
ask you how you learned this. Was there someone who taught you how to
yes.
do this?
Yes. So, Barron County 4-H, the they have a wonderful leather tool or leather crafting project manager, and he taught me everything. It was amazing.
Mhm. So do you do this a lot? Do you do this do you make things that you sell to others or you just do it for yourself?
I just do it for fun.
Yeah.
When my kids were in 4-H, they brought their things to the fair. I brought my purse to the fair in
Mhm.
an open class option, and we just have fun with it.
Yeah. That's
So,
that's great. Was there someone when you were younger or even today that inspires you?
my mom
Tell
my
me about
mom
your mom.
my mom is she well, her and my dad split up when I was probably 12, and so it's been just her and us, single mom, and she worked in manufacturing, she still does actually,
Mhm.
and became supervisor of her shift, and she's always worked hard to get where she's at, and she's always instilled in us kids that you get what you work for,
Mm.
and so that's always been my mentality.
Mhm.
I try to instill that in my kids, so
Yeah, it's a good life lesson. It's
right,
true. Yeah. And it seems that, the harder you work sometimes the better, the happier you are, right?
right.
I think. So if you could go back, Tanya, to your 18-year-old self, is there anything you would do different?
I think I would try to establish myself before because I started a family very young.
Mm,
I met my husband when I was 18. I got married when I was 19. I had my first child when I was 19. I think I would have taken the time to try to figure out my path first.
mhm.
But in hindsight now, I wouldn't be where I am now if I had done that either. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's it. I mean, I think it would be hard to go back and make different decisions, especially if you like your life or you like, kind of where things are at right now because you wouldn't wanna change it.
right. Right. I have two wonderful kids. My marriage didn't work out, but I'm
Mhm.
in a very good place, I
Yeah,
think. So,
good. What do you see for the future for yourself? Do you have any, like, any hopes and dreams for the future?
I I want to survive raising my children and making sure that they
Well,
are
you've done it for one.
well, yes, yes, I have. I
Yes.
have I have one more to get through that door and make sure she's okay. And then, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I'm every day I try to do the best I can for everything that I'm involved in,
Mhm,
and I don't think that that's ever gonna change. So wherever that might take me.
mhm. Is there any person, famous person, or anyone that you wish you could meet, either that's living today or someone from the past?
That's a really good question. Um,
If you could sit down and have a conversation with someone or meet them for dinner.
Probably Queen Elizabeth,
Interesting.
because how interesting was her life?
Yes.
Very different from anything that you would find here, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, her life was planned for her before she was born.
Right.
Yeah. So, do you watch those shows, like The Gilded Age or, The Crown or some of those shows about the life back then?
I have, and I absolutely adore that stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm really now into The Gilded Age. Have you
Okay.
seen that one?
I have not.
Yeah, it's from like the 1860s to the 1880s. So kind of pre turn of the century, and just how the lives that they lived and the clothes and how many people it took to even help you get your clothes on. And for the rich people, there was definitely this, sort of separation of class, like the very, very wealthy and then working class. It's both to me like a history lesson and, just like, wow, we've come a long way in many ways, and in some ways we haven't.
Right. That is so true.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite shows that you watch?
Um, I was big into The Crown for a while. I think that's what got my interest with
Mhm.
Queen Elizabeth and how she became queen and that kind of stuff. There's a couple others and I can't recall the name of the show right now, but
Okay, so let's say that Queen Elizabeth was sitting here. What would you wanna ask her?
what her childhood would have been like.
Mm.
I think that the atmosphere would just be I don't even know if we could comprehend that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think that'd be very interesting to know.
Yeah. I'm sure very scheduled, disciplined, regiment. Yeah, would have been very different. What was your childhood like?
My childhood was it was mostly just my mom, because we had an over the road truck driver for a dad.
Mhm.
So he was hardly ever home, it seemed like. So it was always us kids and my mom. And I know that we struggled now because I'm an adult, but we didn't feel that then. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like
Yeah.
we always had things to do and we always lived out in the country and I mean we had a lot of free reign. We went to the neighbors' houses a lot because we had farm neighbors and
Yeah.
played with their animals, and it was great. It was
So
happy.
happy childhood. Yeah, that's wonderful. You know, living up in northern Wisconsin, sounds like you've lived in this area your whole life. How do you deal with the climate up here?
You just never know what you're gonna get. I love that. I mean, we could have
Yeah.
some really hot summers and really cold winters, and I kinda like it when it's just snowy and beautiful.
Yeah. For being inside or outside?
All of the things.
All of the things, yeah. Yeah. Well, it does seem that people who live up here really truly love it because they stay here
Right.
and their families stay here and a lot of close-knit families, and sounds like that's something that's very important to you, Tanya.
Absolutely is.
Awesome. So, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to ask me any questions that you have for me. Is there anything you wanna know about Kathy?
That's a great question too. Did you ever see yourself being where you're at now?
Yes.
This is always your goal.
So, when I was 20 years old, I had a class in college. I put myself through college, and the professor asked us to write down a goal on a piece of paper that if we achieved it at the age of 50, it would blow our mind. Basically, like, if I achieve this, this would be amazing for me. And at that time, that goal for me was to be a CEO of a manufacturing company at age 50. And do you know what? I became a CEO at exactly age 50. That's when I took over as became the CEO of Charter Next Generation.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I always encourage people, write your goals down. I still do that every year. I'll write down my goals, usually around the start of the year. I keep a journal on, both what my goals are for the year and then my longer term goals. And I journal all the time, and I think it's really important to know where you wanna go and set that goal for the long term, and it's amazing how powerful that can be.
Wonderful.
Tanya Odenbreit, you inspire me. Thank you for being my guest.
Absolutely.